The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the official last ever episode of Scarefest Radio, at least under that name because I'm calling it Scarefest TV from now on. Suck it. We are transitioning the name so that people are not confused when I book them for the show, whether or not there's video. That's going on. And tonight I have the owner, half the couple that own, Brandon Griffith. I even have him a little name tag so everybody will remember who he is. Now tonight, first of all, we've got big news, everybody. We do have the dates, although we're going to talk about how that was released right before showtime. Thanks, Nicole. We got the dates. We've got the hotel. We're going to talk about some of the things that crash landed this year because that's what I do. And just some reminders for people, but this is the official end of Scarefest 12, everybody. This is the last show that we're going to fly under that label, Scarefest Radio, Scarefest 12. That's why I left the intro. That and the fact that when I went to change the intro, I actually had corrupted the file that I work with. And so I got to do it from scratch now, because that's my life. But I'm hoping everybody can hear me this time. When we did the week before Scarefest, we had audio issues, but all the little lights are on and nobody's bitching in the chat room. So I think we got everything going. So, Brandon, have you had any time to sleep since 2 weeks ago?
Well, everybody forgets, like, sometimes I think that as soon as the show was over with, like, I still have a full-time job. So I took off Monday and Tuesday, ended up going back in on Tuesday, fell asleep at my desk 3 times, pretty much zombied it out until Thursday, started to recuperate a little bit. And today, it's very true what they say, you never catch up on REM sleep, because I'm walking around like a perpetual zombie state still. I think it generally takes about 3 weeks to work off the anxiety and lack of sleep.
And there's always plenty of both. I know, in my case, of course, I'm a farmer, so Monday when I got home, I crashed. That's just all there was to it. I crashed. There was no Wesley Monday afternoon. Tuesday I went out and worked like a dog, and then Wednesday I came in and ate lunch, and it hit me again. I'm getting too old for this shit. I'm going to have to try to fit more than 8 hours sleep in for the week before Scarefest. But and we were talking before the show. Even now, here it is. We're 2 weeks out. Now this week I've got some stuff done, but everything I've done, it just seems like it's happening in slow motion. It's like I don't want to take on more than one chore per day.
Well, I fell asleep, like I was saying, at my desk the other day, and like I was mid-email and woke up to 16 pages of K's and L's. And I started to just send it anyway and say the hell with it, but I recouped. I think I do want to thank everyone, though, in my personal life and other work life that has put up with me for the last 3 weeks. You are very much appreciated, and thank you for covering my ass.
Now, before we get into next year, before we announce the meat of it, the things that everyone wants to hear, oddly enough, even though I know there was a lot of the little duck legs going on behind the scenes, I always tell everybody it's the classic duck. It looks okay on top, everything's beautiful, but underneath there's a lot of paddling. But despite it seemed to me there was more of the duck leg stuff going on underneath, I personally did not run head on to the stuff that shows to the fans that as I have in years past. The fans, for the most part, and the vendors and everybody, to me, seem, with a few exceptions that we'll talk about. Actually, one as far as I'm concerned. But it seemed like that we managed to keep everything going on a pretty even keel as far as during the con.
Well, leading up to it, there were so many things that kind of came to light that, I mean, for a myriad of reasons, like we didn't know about or weren't communicated with about. And essentially, I mean, we got into there was a lot of things that we had to cover in the last 2 weeks leading up to the show. Like finding a keyboard for G-Tom Mac, which Adrian can attest to this. I was so frustrated with the keyboard situation, I kept calling it an accordion. And I don't know if that's a lack of sleep, but it was like Accordion Gate 2019. And it had to be a very specific accordion. And I had so much disdain for this thing by the time that it came to fruition that I halfway pictured myself, after he was done playing it, I was going to take out the extra insurance policy on it, run up there on the stage, and just absolutely smash it to pieces like Office Space. I had so much hatred built up for it. I don't know why. I just focused all my energy into that accordion. But, the last few weeks, me and Adrian and Nicole and a few other folks, we were up around the clock, trying to put these pieces together and talking to agents and talking to celebrities and ironing these things out. And so it was a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours. Couldn't have done it without a lot of help, but we were able to pull it off, I think. And, this year, just like every year, I tend to stay in the front of the house and I talk to guests and help kind of work through problems. If someone's not satisfied, I try to sit down with them one-to-one and sort that out. And usually am pretty successful at it because, I understand, what it's like to go someplace and, look forward to something and have something kind of not go the way you thought it would be. So we were able to work through those things just like every year. This year, though, we seem to, I think when the show started, it's kind of like what I say, when Friday kicks in and everything goes into motion, it's in God's hands. And so this year, I felt a little more comfortable with it going into it for whatever reason, even though it seemed a little bit more work on the front end. But I think during the show, we tried to make it as seamless as possible, and I think we were successful at that. But again, it was, I think this year, I never get any sleep, and I look progressively more homeless every year. This year actually was the turnaround. I actually got to shower, change clothes. It was awesome. Yeah, I was very happy with the turnout. We had great attendance this year, the best we've had in 3 years, and I thought it was a really good show. But there was a lot of work that went into that, and obviously everyone put in a lot of hours on that. And so I'm eternally grateful for that.
Now on the numbers, just for my own curiosity, on the day by day, because I know you were excited Friday because Friday was, I know, up from last year, right?
Yeah, last year, we had a lot of great celebrities. Of course, in 2017 we had Robert England. That was the first year we ever had him. And oh, there's the ambulance, just on clockwork. One day I'll soundproof this office. Anyway, and then this year we had Bruce, and so the numbers this year were really good compared to the last 2 years. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the folks that came in, like the veterans on Heroes Day, were up. We just had a lot of really good attendance, and I thought it was, it was really wonderful to see everybody come out.
Yeah, I could tell. Now Friday, I could tell was a heavy crowd. Saturday, I could tell. I wasn't sure about Sunday. Sunday was a good crowd. Don't get me wrong. And I've always said most cons would just die for the crowd that we get on Sunday, and it's our light day. But so how did Sunday compare to the last 2 years?
Now, Sunday was commensurate with 2017. It was a little bit higher, but not much. And last year, it was really up from last year, like what I would call significant.
Okay.
All 3 days were really up from last year significantly.
Now, the one thing that I couldn't put my finger on the numbers this year, I was going by what you had told me on Friday night. The crowd flow this year, I'm just going to call it impeccable. I ran into no bottlenecks anywhere. That weird-ass floor plan you came up with the last 2 years has really worked out.
Well, not everybody. There were problems with it in the first year, and it was, I listened to everybody, and we did it that way for a reason, and that there is, a method to this madness. And we looked at what everybody said last year, and a lot of the problem is that when you were going down the long hall on the end, there was nothing there to kind of catch your eye, or not a whole lot in that hallway, so you felt like you were walking forever. And so we opened up the doors. We put vendors out there. We had excellent vendors this year. I cannot say enough about the vendors. And I think we kept everybody entertained from the time they walked in through the main gate to the time they got to the main exhibit hall. Like, you had a lot of stops there. You had, in the pre-function where we normally have like the stage and everything, like you had that full of just awesome stuff. And then you had exhibitor hall B, which we did in the Elkhorns. And then you had vendors all the way down the hallway. And so, it was really eye-catching, and there was a lot of really good, stuff to see while you were going down that way. And so I think that helped a lot. And even when you were going through, like, the traffic made a lot more sense. It kind of divvied up into 2 sections. And so people would shoot off to the right, or people would shoot off to the left. And they had some time to meander there, and then they would move down. And so I think it worked,
From all visibility that I had, it did work. And people loved having vendors in the pre-function area, where we normally just kind of waste that. We had to use it this year, but people liked that.
Well, I thought for years, like, you walk in there, and the pre-function has always been, I don't know, like a barren post-apocalyptic wasteland where people just sit there or stand, or like, it's just empty. Like, there's nothing there. And that's like 10,000 or 15,000 square feet that's just sitting there. We knew that changing the costume party and Kids Day was going to be a big deal. But of course, with the construction and everything, we had to make do with what we had. And ultimately, I think at the end of the day, it was a good call. I think that area, when people go in there, it makes really good use of it. There's a lot of good traffic flow, a lot of interesting booths, and just having that area full of like something, as soon as you walk in, like it's in your face, and you're not having to like walk through like the desert to get to the oasis.
Definitely worked. Now, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break, everybody. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and start dropping some tidbits about next year. And then we'll go back and we'll rehash the bullshit things that didn't go over so well. Everybody, we'll be right back. Actually, this is just one of my little scripts here. The Mystical Fair, Lexington, Kentucky's only monthly psychic and holistic healing arts fair, is this weekend. Starting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Runs till 6 p.m. if I remember correctly. But it's at Whipple Court, Lexington, Kentucky. They've got healers. They've got all types of psychics and intuitives, and some really nifty vendors that you did. One of these days, I need to ask these people, why are you setting up at a missed psychic fair? I mean, nice stuff. Don't get me wrong. Local artisans and things like that. But in other words, there's just a lot of stuff going on. If you've never been to the Mystical Fair, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Great weekend to do it. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be hot. But they have air conditioning in the building. So anyway, that's 1084 Whipple Court, The Mystical Fair. Go to mysticalfairlex.com if you need more information. Now, let's just go ahead and drop the dates. I will allow you to drop the dates for next year, Brandon.
All right, and we can explain why we came to this, but it's a significant change, but and I think it's going to be really good. But next year, right now, our dates are set at October 23rd through October 25th. Now that's a jump, I understand, but I think if you stick around and listen to some of the programming ideas and some of the reasons why, I think you'll find out that you'll be very excited.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and drop the main reason why. Now, at the con, especially on Sunday, everybody was walking up to me and saying, "What are you doing next year?" Because people had stopped and actually noticed the big sign as you walked into the building, saying, showing the new exhibit hall that they were building next year, and people were going, "Well, this isn't going to be here, is it?" And at that time, I said, "No, it's not going to be here." So, those of us in management were weighing, where the hell can we move this damn thing? And even just the other day in the Scarefest group, somebody was talking about, where could it be? Let's move it. And it was moving it in Lexington. And we looked at the two biggest places in the area, and they're just like little baby things. So, now here's the catch, people. By moving it, we found out just a solid week and a half ago, that they're going to have the main exhibit hall done early October. So now, here's my fear, Brandon. This is a quasi-government agency. I'm sure hiring quasi-government contractors. And I just happen to remember the Newtown Pike Bridge that took 10 years. Kings Island was built in a summer. That's my only fear of this, but I do know you've given them a little space there by moving it later in the month.
Well, yeah, we went to the third week. The center is supposed to be completely done, or the exhibition halls are supposed to be done by October 1st. Now, the reason that I feel very comfortable with that is that even though I may not have much pull in Lexington, the Lexington Convention Center is attached to Rupp Arena, and the University of Kentucky does have quite a bit of pull. And so there's a lot of folks that are very, high profile, that want this thing to go through in October. And so they are sticking to their dates. They're booking shows in the convention center in October. We're not the only one. I feel very confident that it'll take place. And if you go to the Lexington Convention Center website, they put updates. You can look at the camera of the construction, which I do daily, usually with bourbon, and watch it frantically, as I did this year. But they it's not like Center Point downtown where it was a construction site that was dead for 15 years. There's a lot of emphasis to get this going because you've got basketball season in October. You've got not March Madness, but Big Blue Madness and all that stuff. And so there's a lot of emphasis to get it done, and so I think it will. Now, when looking at other spots in Lexington, it's a void. Scarefest is a big show. We need at least 60,000 square feet if we're going to pull it off. And the only other venue in this city to do that is the Alltech Arena. And the Alltech Arena is out in the middle of nowhere. And even then, I can't imagine. Basically, we were going to have to be quiet the whole time we were there so we didn't startle the horses. So, I don't see that being the case. I don't see that working. We're not a quiet group by any means, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But Lexington is the home of Scarefest. There is no option of moving it. This is my community. This is where we have it. This is where we're ultimately where we live. And so, in order to make it happen, we had to give some concessions. But we're not in September anymore. We're in October. But downtown Lexington, that's when they have their huge Halloween blowout. So I've talked to Parks and Rec. I've talked to Lexington government. Like, there's so much exciting stuff that's going on during that time that when folks come in, it doesn't have to be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, it's a whole week worth of stuff. And we're setting it up so that people have shuttles. If they come in and stay at a hotel downtown, we're going to help people get out to the haunts. We're going to help people get out to all these different events that are going on. And we're planning in tandem with a lot of stuff that's going to be going on in the community as well. So I think it's a great opportunity. I'm super excited about it. Like the Thriller Parade, if you've never been a part of that in Lexington, and I wasn't aware of this until recently, but downtown Lexington, like its Halloween events are rated in like the top 10 in the nation. Like the Thriller Parade is like the largest of its kind. And so everybody that comes down for Scarefest this year from out of state, or if you live in Lexington, or even the surrounding cities, like when you come in, it's all going to culminate with this big, huge Thriller Parade. And so we're working on getting makeup people in to help folks if they want to be a part of the parade, doing some special kind of movie and screening stuff. All these haunts open up around town, and especially like Wicked World and everything, that normally when people come down in September, they don't have a chance to go out there. And I mean, it is phenomenal. And so I think it really opens the doors to take in everything that we have here, not just Scarefest in Rupp Arena, but I think we'll be the epicenter of the whole thing. And I'm really excited about that prospect. Not to mention that they do haunted bourbon trails during that time, and I may go missing on Thursday.
And I did now that sounded wonderful. To the fans, what you just described sounded wonderful. All I heard is, boy, there's gonna be a lot of shit on the website this year, because you know people are gonna want to have the people that come in early are gonna want everything mapped out for them, and
that's the purpose of us sitting down with Parks and Rec here in Lexington, which, from a social work standpoint, like I've had a lot of involvement with them over the years, and we have such a possibility this year to make it like a full destination. Like I know some people that take Halloween vacations to like Salem or just other places, or Savannah. I mean, we have a real opportunity here to not only build Scarefest and offer a lot more programming, but to really bring everybody down in the community in Lexington and really kind of piggyback or work together on a lot of really interesting stuff. I'm really thoroughly, like, for the last 3 years, I get a little anxious after Scarefest ends and we start looking at, booking the dates and what are we going to do. But, this year, I'm really, really excited about all the possibilities just from sitting down with my team and talking to the folks in Lexington and at Rupp or the Lexington Center. I think it's going to be really, really good, and I think people are going to remember it.
And you kind of alluded to it. We also get to piggyback on this stuff. A lot of people are in the mood for our stuff that time of year that might not be thinking about it otherwise in September. And if
everybody always comes up to me at Scarefest and like, I've heard this for 3 years running. Like, why don't you guys, look at doing something closer to Halloween? And I guess we've I don't know what the mentality of it was in the past. Of course, you got Keeneland going on and things like that, but we've got like all of our platinums locked in. We've got all the hotels that we need coming to the table, and I think to see so many people be excited about the change, I think we can make it work and make it work well.
Well, now after what you had told me the other night about what I shouldn't say anything bad about our host hotel on the air, I guess. But anyway, the difficulties of working with the Hyatt during Keeneland. I'll phrase it that way. I kind of assume, because the way I remember it, that we started out, it was always right after Halloween. And everybody was kind of burned out on the whole Halloween thing. So they decided to jump it up. And for a long time, it seemed like every year we were trying to get closer to Halloween based on the dates available to us. And then, last few years, it kind of took a step back and kept aiming for Friday the 13th, which fell in our lap a few times. But so that had been my assumption, that it was just a matter of the logistics of getting any cooperation from Lexington during Keeneland.
I think one thing, and I'm not saying anything before like me and Nicole took over, but one thing that we've really tried to do is work with the community, work with the vendors, and when I say vendors, I mean like the people that help us put this on, the host hotel, just downtown in general, and I think that our social work life and then our Scarefest life have kind of blended over in a lot of regards. And we've talked to a lot of folks, and I think that everyone has really kind of helped. Like this year could have been, we could have ended up in Louisville, or we could have ended up having half the show, like, having a much smaller show, and I didn't want to do that, and I definitely don't want to move it out of here. But it was amazing to me when we were having the conversations and trying to work out what we were going to do. Everybody that came to the table to kind of help out and be like, okay, well, we could do this, we could try this. The center has been amazing, the Lexington Center. They've been really helpful. The Hyatt has been really helpful. I mean, just everybody. I think that this is something that everybody can kind of get behind and make a push for next year. So, it's a big change. It's different, but change, even though it's scary, is sometimes necessary. And a lot of the times it's for the better. So I think that this is going to be really good.
Well, at the very least, maybe it won't be 90 freaking degrees by the time we have it next year. Gee whiz. That sounds like a joke.
I'm telling you right now, not everybody appreciates, like, if you don't cosplay routinely, or if you're not packing in like 400 truckloads worth of shit as a vendor, or us, like, putting everything into the center. Like, you can't appreciate unless you're in there like Wednesday night sweating your ass off, carrying in a copier and a printer, just exactly how great it will be for it to be a little bit cooler. But now, I think that's going to be a huge positive too. Like, I'm really looking forward to a change of weather personally. But I just think that, the center as a whole, like, if you haven't looked at it, I mean, this thing is going to be like the Taj Mahal. Like, Louisville has a great facility. I think this is gonna be much better. And if the pictures and the renderings or anything, what it's gonna look like at the end, I'm gonna be very happy with it. And so if we have to make concessions now in order to have a better show and a better venue and be able to have it there, then I'm on board with that.
Now, you keep bringing up these concessions. I think I know one of them. One thing that is going to suffer, in theory, this year is going to be the number of seminars that we're able to have.
So we're going to have a limited number of meeting rooms, but honestly, like, we're going off, what they are slating off to have completed by then. Now, we know the minimal that they'll have done, but they could have some additional stuff done as well. And so I think we can make use of the space. And if you guys, if anybody goes to like, it's GalaxyCon now, they found a way to incorporate a lot of things that's normally in meeting rooms into the con floor. So I think we have the option of doing that this year, and we're kind of looking at it. We've talked about, obviously some of the things that we do in seminars and panels and things may be affected. The film series will be affected. We're not sure exactly 100% how, but I think there's a lot of really interesting ideas that we've been talking about that will help fans get the same experience. It'll be a little bit different, but I think it'll be better. Now, as far as concessions go, like, really, we're not going to have the same layout that we've had the last few years. Everybody has enjoyed the layout the last couple of years. So, that's going to change a little bit. Will we make it work? Yes, we will, just like always.
I have full faith in that. Now, while they're building the building, could you tell them that possibly when they redo all that, put in internet routers that weren't built in like 1950?
They are going to be state-of-the-art facilities. We will not have buffering of video. We won't have a cluster bomb of that nature, I don't think. So, of course, with any change, you're going to have something else you're going to have to work with. But this place is going to be, as my dad used to say, it'll be the bee's knees. I think it'll be really, really nice. I'm really excited. Like if you look at the pictures, and the plans they have for the internal landscape and all that, and they added parking.
I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it.
They did. I swear to God, it's on the diagram, and they kept the parking across the street. Obviously, they're looking at building a huge amphitheater off to the side. The entrances are going to change a little bit. But it's my biggest concern right now is what in the hell they're going to do with yesterday's.
You mean the food court in general, or that bar in specifically?
I'm worried about that bar specifically because it has come to be my safety net.
Well, the story is that they're getting ready to move across town somewhere, and once they move, they're not coming back.
That's the only thing that scares me. There's going to be a lot of other stuff down there that's going to crop up, from what I understand. But yesterday's has always been kind of my safe space.
Do you think they'll have a coffee shop that actually opens in the morning?
Shit, no. Maybe. I'm going to say that. They may. If not, I'm going to have a Keurig in my office next year just to make sure. And so anybody that I know out there, feel free to stop by my office. I'll have that and maybe bourbon. I'll have my own little concession stand.
Well, we're going to take our half-hour commercial break, everybody. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about how bad the internet was. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. The one thing I hated about not doing the show last week was I didn't get to give Akashic Awareness a big boost going into their Beacon of Light Festival. But they shouldn't have scheduled it like the week after Scarefest, for my point. But, that being said, Akashic Awareness, Mark and Shelley James, great people, run this great place down in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. It's a metaphysical healing and learning center unlike any other that you're going to find anywhere. It's a large selection of crystals, gems, minerals, as soon as you walk in the door. And then from there, your journey begins, and they've got just all of the stuff for you to explore. They will not, their big thing is they don't push you on stuff. They don't sell you on stuff. They want you to explore, to try things, to find out what works for you. It's a place devoid of judgment. It's a place devoid of it's almost too devoid of judgment. I like a little judgment in my life, but they're a lot of fun, and it's a great place to try out. And go to their website, AkashicAwareness.com, and you'll find they have these upcoming events right for the next month. If you're wanting a massage from one of the best masseuses that I've ever encountered, Rachel Centron is going to be there like 3-4 times. I've lost count. She's going to be there on and off all month. That's one of the things coming up. They've got My Happy Place workshop coming up on the 12th. Tomorrow night, if you're in the E-Town area, the Akashic Art Gala. Always something going on. Go to AkashicAwareness.com to find out more. Join their email list and stay up on all the news. Okay, commercials out of the way. Now, the reason I have such a sore spot in my ass about the convention center's internet, we made the error, and I'm going to take partial credit for this because allegedly I was Brandon's helper on this, but the film festival this year, and if any of the people from the film festival are watching, we are not denying that it was a train wreck this year. Largely because we thought the ones we had not downloaded ahead of time or had on DVD, we thought we'll just download them and watch them directly from filmfreeway.com and do it that way. You know, with the exception of my home internet from AT&T, it was sad. It was just sad, and we even bumped up the bandwidth, and it was still sad. So that was one of those things that I was telling. I keep saying we dropped the ball on the film festival this year. We ended up getting everything shown.
Now, the thing that made it extremely difficult this year was that, so we had so many awesome submissions. I mean, they were really good.
Oh yes.
And so we wanted to show as many as we could. And now the thing that made it more complicated this year, not only the amount of films that we received that were awesome, we were not able to, with the construction, we could only get the top half to do the film rooms, like the third floor. Now, the bad thing about that is that we weren't allowed in there until like 8:30 Saturday morning. And films were supposed to start showing like an hour and a half after that. And so we're up there like absolutely busting our asses trying to make this work and get everything shifted around without having any access to it at all until that morning. I mean, if it hadn't been for John and all the guys and Wes and all the guys on speakers staff, like, I mean, we wouldn't have even had what we had. But I mean, you're talking about a lot of troubleshooting the day of that absolutely scared the piss out of me going into it, and it blew up. And then on top of that, the internet connection can only rival that of AOL circa 1997 when the internet first friggin' started. I mean, I don't know. Anybody, like, let alone download an hour-long movie. I mean, looking at porn on this, you would have a very, very bad evening.
I do want to give a shout. I wish I'd gotten her name, but a nice lady was. She was there Saturday morning in the shorts room, the room we were showing the shorts, and she practically, once we got it working. She pretty much took over, and kept the shorts going for her. She was fantastic, and if I knew who she was, I would give her a shout out and probably buy her flowers.
Now, was she the actual, like, was she a filmmaker?
I'm not sure. I mean, she did seem emotionally invested in the success of it, but at the same time, she stayed through multiple sessions of that in that shorts room.
The writer and director of Songbird, which we thought absolutely, like when we were sitting down watching it, we thought was an absolutely beautiful short. And I met her at the ticket office, and she was just so happy that that her film had gotten chosen, or her short had gotten chosen, and like we thought it was amazing to watch. And it was, you know, there was a very somber tone to it, and you can see the preview online. But I mean, it was an amazing thing, and she was so appreciative and so nice, and like I met a lot of really cool filmmakers, and you know what we're looking at right now is trying to find a way to kind of make that a little bit better. If that means, with the things that we couldn't handle this year for various reasons, maybe doing a separate event here soon. But I think that, anytime at a convention, every convention I've ever gone to, the setting is always the same. Like it's a room with just flat chairs in it, and then you've got the screening area. And so one of the things that I'm excited about next year is that if you're going to have a film festival, one, I think it has to be truly its own event. I don't think that you can have it piggyback onto a convention. I think it's positive in regards that you get a lot of people that are there that will want to go check stuff out, but I don't think you can have it running during a convention hour. I just don't think it's conducive. So I'm looking at really like how we can make that better. And of course, I am not going to ever say that people shouldn't give us feedback. If we can do something better, then obviously we want to know that. And so this year, I think internally, we know how we can do some things better with that. But if you guys have additional comment on that, we would always love to hear it. We won't get our feelings hurt. I'm pretty thick-skinned, but we will always work to make it better.
Absolutely.
But kudos to the filmmakers. I was absolutely amazed.
I was too. Now I didn't get to watch all of them. I got through most of the features, but now there were the shorts were just off the hook. Way too many shorts. But
it was really hard to narrow those down. And like Bodie, my son, like out of all the celebrities that we had there, we had one short that had a guy in it, and it was Sleazy Larry, and so it was a playoff. It wasn't even really like in the horror genre, but it was so awesome. And he watched that, like, he helped with some of the pick, like when we were sitting down, he helped judge some of them because he's very in tune to that. And he was more excited about meeting the guy that played Sleazy Larry than he was anybody else at the con. He thought that guy was a superstar, and I have to agree. I met him too, and he was really funny. Hats off to those guys.
Now, because I didn't watch all of them, I'm not going to say none of them were this way, but I'm used to seeing the typical. When you're in the horror genre, okay, your early filmmakers automatically think, well, let's see how many gallons of blood we can spill. Let's see who we can hatchet to death and how many beautiful ways we can find to create mayhem. That was not the movies we had this year. These were some of these with just a little more budget would be up there with Friday the 13th and the other classics. They were that well done, and if they had that studio push behind them, I guess what I'm saying is there's some people that's going to go a long way based on what I saw.
You had so much that was more than just your traditional like splatterhouse kind of things, and I love. Don't get me wrong, I love blood and gore. Bloodier the better, but the storylines and like how they hashed out a lot of stuff this year. The Field was a very well produced, well done film. Artique was amazing, and it even had the guy from John Dies at the End, and it was a phenomenal story, but it was absolutely knocked my socks off on some of them. I was really, really pleasantly surprised. And I think, we went for the gusto this year, and we made sure that we got everything out there and we got everything screened. But I think that, it's very difficult to narrow things down when it comes to film. And we just had so much good stuff. And I'm really looking forward to next year because I think we'll be able to give it its own venue. Now, the huge movie theater that's supposed to be opening across the street from the Hyatt, it's a huge entertainment complex with IMAX and bowling alleys and the whole shebanga. Now, I'm really excited for that to get up and going, and that I think that will be up and going when we get there. But we also have the Kentucky. We also have the Lexington Opera House. All these folks are people that we're reaching out to try and elaborate on that film series, on top of all the other stuff that we've got planned for this year.
I might, during the VIP party next year, I might have to go bowling. I pinned it down this year. That's when my voice goes. Trying to talk over the music and all the loudness. That's when my voice went. So I either got to do that or get one of those little Bluetooth speakers and carry it around and just talk in the microphone. Everybody, we're going to take our...
Oh, everybody feels so sorry for me when I get to the VIP party because, like, I look like I just got mugged and had the shit beat out of me by like 10 people. I walk over there with my laptop all the time, my backpack, and I absolutely look like I've just been shot in the leg. And, like, so everybody always feels sorry for me, and I get at least 3 drinks out of it.
Hey, I'm not going to put... My bar tab for the weekend was like $15. People just like me. What can I say? We're going to take our final commercial break. We'll be right back. I do have some stuff I want to tell you that's going to be coming up on Scarefest television. But we'll finish our little talk here about what's going on with Scarefest. We'll be right back.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil. Most of us know that CBD is a cannabis compound that has significant medical benefits, but does not make people high. Its benefits include pain relief, anti-seizure properties, anxiety relief, fights cancer, reduces the risk of diabetes, and it is even used as a sleep aid. Blue Leaf Naturals CBD and hemp products are full-spectrum hemp extract oils. They use only hemp grown in Kentucky, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses and helping you and your family stay healthy and well. Blue Leaf Naturals, created with care from seed to shelf. Visit their website at blueleafnaturals.com. Blue Leaf Naturals, a Kentucky proud company.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to coyotechris.com to learn more.
And welcome back, everybody, to the final ever episode of Scarefest Radio as we make the transition to Scarefest TV. Now, some things that we kind of didn't go off as planned. First of all, we dicked it up, everybody. The axe throwing, we got the tickets on sale too late. Now, we're going to try that again because a lot of people really liked that idea, and the people that went to it said it was the greatest thing they ever did, Brandon.
Now, that and the wine that we did, the limited edition wine bottles with fun, that and the axe throwing, I think, were 2 things that were outside the box that I was absolutely amazed about. But we did not get it up quick enough. We had to iron out a lot of details. Throwing axes and my insurance company don't mix well. I don't know anybody that does, but I think that the goal is for this year is to keep that going, build on it, because throwing axes with Kane and R.A. and Steve and all those guys, that's a once in a lifetime experience. I mean, they've got like spears there and throwing knives. You can do ninja stars. I mean, there's no other place on the world that I know that will put a beer and an axe in your hand in the same place. Well, except Eastern Kentucky.
Now, of course, the Talon wines, we have them still on the website. Now, they were taken down for a couple of days because Brandon wanted buttons on the website, so I had to update some links. But they're back up.
I just stuff up. That's my job.
Merchandise. Go to merchandise. You'll find out what the wines are. Then from that page, you can go to Talon Winery. It still works the same way, people. You have to pick them up. Kentucky law doesn't let them ship wine because we're like living in the 15th century here. But you can order the wines. They said they would keep making them. Last I heard, they were going to keep those wines available through the first year. And if they sell a whole lot, hey, sky's the limit. But that's kind of the point. but you can order it and then give them 2 or 3 days, and then you can pick it up. So in other words, next time you're coming to Lexington, they're right on Tates Creek Road, I believe it is. Google it. But you can order your wines and then pick them up right there at their little tasting room they have. And I want to give them a plug too. Next weekend they have go to their website, people. They have like music out there like every weekend through the next month. So you can go there and enjoy yourself and taste some wine. Another weird thing, because they don't have an actual liquor license, you have to drink inside. You can drink their wines inside. You can drink it on the porch. You step in the yard, someone will shoot you. That's apparently how it works, because that's Kentucky State Police's job, is to make sure people don't carry wine across the yard. Anyway, that being said, Talon Wines, once again, on the website, go to merchandise and you'll see the link. Now, some things, now first, in the chat room, someone asked, I'm going to try to explain this as succinctly as I can. Scarefest Radio that you're watching right now, we're changing the name. We're not changing the location. We're not changing anything else other than the format a little bit. If you want to watch it on your smart TV, it's on YouTube. Find the Scarefest channel. Find my Scarefest Radio channel. You can watch it on YouTube on any television that's hooked to the internet. But no, nothing is changing. We're not going to NBC. Don't worry about that. Travel Channel has not picked us up. But we are going to change the name of it, and that is just for clarification with the guests, so they expect to be on camera. Now, I do want to throw out there, Dan Nation is going to start doing some segments for us. We're going to have some more filler stuff. What this is, people, like when I had Kane Hodder on, I could only get Kane for 30 minutes. Now, a month before Scarefest, it's easy for me to fill 30 minutes with my particular brand of BS. In November, not so damned easy. So we're going to have a lot of segments that when we get a guest that we can't just roll through for the hour, we can have entertainment that that you will enjoy. So Dan Nation's coming on board. I got some other people that have emailed me. Billy Crank is going to create a character just for Scarefest television. So he's going to be folded into it. And now one other thing I wanted to throw out there before I got off this topic. We have our first new co-host. She's going to be coming on soon. I'll probably just have a show just with her on there. Here's her picture, everybody. She's totally hot, totally smart, knows more about horror movies than I will ever pretend to. She is an actual horror movie geek. We finally found the crossroads where beauty and movie geek hit right in that little circle in the diagram. So her name is Cece Ann. She's going to be coming on. And she was a lot of fun, and obviously she's not shy. That's why I wanted the slideshow up there, just to show you she ain't shy. So go ahead and we probably ought to check with your lawyers about sexual harassments, lawsuits, and stuff like that, because you know how I tend to talk to people.
I'm sending out the email right now as soon as you blasted the picture up. So I've been trying to get Nicole to wear that same outfit for the last 3 years.
Well, we can get her hooked up. And that's we're going to be doing, we got people coming on to do makeup segments to show you how to do like zombie makeup and stuff. We got a lot of stuff planned. We're going to transition it with the target of getting everything going by January. So we've got the dates, October 23rd through 25th, with the entire week before that having peripheral activities due to Halloween in Lexington. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, Lexington doesn't even have a zombie run right now, which I'm the most, I only believe in running if somebody is chasing me. And so, but there are a lot of people out there that enjoy it. And Lexington doesn't have a zombie run. And so I've been trying to think of what we could call it, like the Running Undead, or I don't know, something to do with this is a horse race city, for God's sake. And we have Shamrock Shuffle and all that stuff. Lexington's missing two big things there. They don't have that, which, I don't know, I think a zombie run would be pretty cool. And we don't have a huge masquerade ball. Like Louisville has a tattoo and masquerade ball. And so there's a whole lot of possibilities for this year, and everybody being in the Halloween spirit and things of that nature. We're cooking up a lot of ideas. Nicole's a powerhouse of ideas, and so is Adrian. And I'll ride their coattails across the finish line.
And I'll do pretty graphics. Now, one thing that just came up in the chat room yet again, you thought I was bullshitting the other night when I said that we dropped the ball on it. The people want karaoke, Brandon. We have to get karaoke in there.
Painstakingly so, I tried to make that happen, and we could not get it to work. We will start working on it again. I am confident we can make it happen next year, but we could not pull it off this year, and I apologize. Jake, if you're listening, I'm wholeheartedly sorry. I am still looking at, we'll add a mascot this year for you to make up for it.
I talked to the owner of Skybar, and I think we could sweet talk him into getting rid of the way too loud fucking band. Sorry. Great band, don't get me wrong. The band that was there Thursday night for the lunch party, they were a great band. They sounded good. Apparently knew how to play instruments, but not that big of a place. Really, really loud. So just throwing that out there. So we might try to get him on board for that, because I think that's a great place, and he enjoyed the heck out of working with us this year. Now we did talk a little bit. Now the Hyatt is going to be our host hotel again. We're gonna. You've already touched base with, I think, some of the other hotels about getting us. What do you call them? Block rates? I don't know.
Yeah, so you have courtesy blocks and you have contracted blocks, which, I mean, if you're in the convention world, like you'll understand what that means. But we've got a new hotels coming down at Center Point. There's a Marriott Residence, and then there's a regular Marriott, 2 hotels in there. We've got the Hilton, the Hyatt. So I think we're pretty well covered this year. Now, we're looking to see like how we can help out the most people, and obviously, you know, like the Hyatt has been our host hotel. It's not attached to the convention center, or it won't be at that time, and it'll have a pedway after the construction's done. So it will no longer be, you know, a lot of things will change when you guys come down this year. So everybody needs to think about that. But, you know, it'll be a little bit different. But for all the folks that have been coming for years, you know, Jake, Omar, all you guys, like we'll still be able to sit out in the front of the Hyatt. That's been my favorite part of Scarefest every year. It is sitting out in the front parking lot of the Hyatt, getting to talk to everybody. And so it would have been real easy for us to switch a hotel and just have everything off-site. But I don't know. I think that you miss that camaraderie and experience that, you know, just running into people that you only get to see once a year, if you're lucky. Having everybody central is really important to me, and we've done our best to make that happen.
So everyone, that is pretty much the scoop we had tonight. We've give you the when, we've give you the where, and we're starting to work on the what's. So
Wes, there is a couple things I need to say real quick though.
Say it.
We had a volunteer this year that absolutely went above and beyond in his first year. I was absolutely amazed at this guy's level of intensity, his just take control mentality, and it's just something we haven't seen in this department for a while. And so I want to thank Chad Johnson, because Chad Johnson has really, he's the bar that we set moving forward. Now, this isn't to be confused with Adam Johnson. We've got a few Johnsons in there. This is Chad Johnson. And if you have not met Chad, I'm telling you right now, he's a great guy. He's a hell of a man, and you couldn't ask for better than Chad. So, Chad, if you're listening out there, I wish I could clone you.
He's listening because he was in the chat room earlier. I'm sure he's listening tonight.
He looks a lot like Adam, guys, so you may confuse him. But his name is Chad.
Anything else?
No, that's it. I just want to make sure that my Chad hollers out there.
Okay, wait, let's see here. Okay, yeah. Adam says he's going to kill you. Just wanted to pass that on. Okay, everybody. This has been the last episode of Scarefest Radio, particularly attached to Scarefest 12. Going forward, we are Scarefest Television, and it is now Scarefest 13. We're in the planning stages.
Scarefest the 13th.
Very good. That will give us even more.
The other day, and it's kind of caught my ear. Like, I kind of like it.
I like that. I like that. And plus, it will give us an excuse not to use Roman numerals this year. So, and I was on board for that. So, everybody, Scarefest the 13th. And that's what we're looking forward to. We got a lot of stuff coming up on Scarefest Radio. I've already reached out to some of the film directors that were anyway, we're going to put that behind us and make this right. But we've got some great guests coming up, everybody, and I want to thank everybody for making us the success both at Scarefest this year and Scarefest Radio, the behemoth juggernaut of media attention that it has become. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.